Imagine this, a bear cub so goofy, so full of charm, that you can't help but laugh at her antics. Watch as she steals the spotlight with her hilarious mishaps and lovable personality. Get ready for a wild, heartwarming ride. You won't believe the hilarious things she does next. It was a crisp spring afternoon in the woods, just outside of Asheville, North Carolina. The sun was high, casting a golden glow over the sprawling trees, and the air was thick with the sweet scent of blooming dogwoods. Birds chirped happily, welcoming the warm days of the season, while a small, curious figure made her way through the brush. Meet Lily, a tiny black bear cub with a heart as big as her paws. She was no bigger than a medium-sized dog, but what she lacked in size, she more than made up for with her sheer presence and irresistible charm. With her fluffy fur and wide, innocent eyes, Lily could melt anyone's heart, if only they could stop laughing long enough to notice. Lily wasn't like other bear cubs you might encounter. While most are shy, retreating into the safety of their mother's arms, Lily had a different plan. She was determined to be the life of the party, the star of every show. Whether she was tumbling down a hill or trying to climb the wrong tree, one thing was certain. Lily was bound to make you laugh. But this wasn't always the case. Lily hadn't always been this carefree little comedian. She had been rescued from the woods after being found all alone, probably separated from her mother too early. And let's just say Lily's first few days in her new home were a comedy of errors. If you could even call them errors, because it was more like a series of happy accidents. It was the very first day Lily was introduced to her new surroundings, and she was determined to make an impression. Little did anyone know this was going to be her first, and definitely not last, act of the day. She took one cautious step forward, then another. Her tiny paws seemed so unsure, like she was walking on stilts. It was as if the ground beneath her was the most confusing thing she'd ever encountered. Then, with a sudden burst of energy, Lily launched herself into a playful sprint, straight into a small bush. The bush gave way with a soft whoosh sound, and Lily, not realizing what had happened, continued her sprint right into a tree. Boom! The sound echoed through the yard, and Lily bounced backward like a rubber ball, landing in a pile of leaves, dazed but not the least bit discouraged. As she sat there, blinking up at the sky in a confused stupor, Lily's expression was priceless. Her little paws were stretched out, and she looked like she'd just discovered a new way to exist on Earth, by falling into things. The funniest part? She sat up, shook herself off, and then, completely undeterred, ran straight into the same bush again. Lily wasn't just clumsy, she was determined, and that, my friends, is what made her so adorable. There was no shame in her game, only the relentless pursuit of fun, and that was just the beginning. Lily's life quickly turned into one endless string of laughs. Every day was a new adventure, a new opportunity for her to do something so goofy that it could only be described as Lily-esque. For example, there was the time she tried to climb a tree, backwards. Yep, Lily took one look at the tree, looked back at the humans watching her, and made the bold decision to scale it. But instead of going up, she backed up to it and then tried to climb it backward, making little grunting noises with every failed attempt. Her paws would slide down the bark, and then she'd tumble backward in a pile of fur and leaves. It was like watching a bear cub perform a one-bear stand-up. Routine. And then there was her encounter with a stick. It was a perfectly ordinary stick, just lying there on the ground. But to Lily, it was an obstacle, an opponent, and a weapon all in one. She would pick it up with her mouth, wave it around like a sword, and then, without warning, trip over it. The stick, in turn, would fly into the air, landing somewhere new. And Lily, ever the performer, would give it a dramatic look of confusion, as if she was saying, "Why does this stick hate me so much?" But her greatest talent, the slip and slide, She would run as fast as her little legs would carry her, only to hit a patch of wet grass and, whoosh, she would slide across the yard like a tiny, furry blur. Her legs would flail out, and she would land in a dramatic heap, only to immediately get up and do it all over again. Lily wasn't just an ordinary bear cub. No, she was a comedian in the making. A bundle of laughter wrapped in fur, constantly turning the mundane into something worth laughing about. Just when it seemed like Lily had exhausted her comedic routine, something extraordinary happened. Something that no one could have predicted. Lily, it seemed, was not only an expert in physical comedy, but she also had a voice, a mimicking voice to be exact. One morning, as Lily was wandering around, she overheard a bird chirping nearby. For the first time, she stopped, ears perked, and listened intently. Then, without warning, Lily attempted to mimic the sound. It was a little garbled at first, more of a grrr chirp than an actual chirp, but she tried again. And this time, her attempt was almost spot on. It was as if Lily had decided that not only was she going to make people laugh with her antics, but she was going to impress them with her unexpected vocal talents. She started copying sounds, from the chirps of birds to the rustling of leaves, and you could tell Lily was proud of her new trick. And then, one day, as the family watched from the porch, Lily let out a sound so comically accurate that it had them all doubled over in laughter. She had mimicked the exact sound of a squeaky toy. Only it wasn't a toy. No, it was Lily herself, letting out an ear-piercing squeak that could rival any toy in the toy chest. Her face was utterly serious as she performed this vocal masterpiece, and it was clear. Lily had found her comedic calling. She wasn't just a clumsy cub, she was a performer. Though Lily's antics were undeniably hilarious, what truly made her special wasn't just her comedic timing. It was the connection she formed with her rescuers, who had become her family. Every time Lily did something funny, she looked to the humans in her life for validation. It was as if she knew that they were her audience, her cheering crowd, and they never failed to laugh, applaud, and show her love. But it wasn't all just fun and games. There were moments when Lily showed her softer side, when she'd climb into someone's lap and nuzzle against them, seeking comfort after a long day of running around. She was a comedian, yes, but she also knew when to be gentle, when to offer a snuggle to those who loved her. And let's not forget those moments when Lily would curl up in the corner after a big day of antics, exhausted but content. It was during these moments, when she would look up at her rescuers with those big brown eyes, that you saw the depth of her bond with them. She wasn't just a bear cub. They weren't just her caretakers. They were her family. It was clear to everyone around her that Lily's heart was as big as her ability to make people laugh. Then came the day that sealed Lily's place as the undisputed comedic champion of the forest. It started off like any other day with Lily chasing after a butterfly. But this time, something was different. She ran after it with an intensity that no one had seen before. She wasn't just playing, she was determined. With one swift movement, Lily launched herself into the air, ready to pounce on her butterfly prey. But as she jumped, she miscalculated, and instead of landing gracefully, Lily fell straight into the family's small kiddie pool. The splash was enormous, sending water everywhere. And Lily? Well, she came up, dripping wet, with an expression that was pure confusion. Her fur was matted down, her eyes wide, and she looked like the tiniest, soggiest bear in the world. For a moment, there was silence. And then, everyone burst into laughter. Lily, however, wasn't done. She shook herself off, looked at the kiddie pool, and then, without skipping a beat, dived right back in. Lily's antics were more than just a source of laughter. They were a reminder to embrace life's little messes. Her carefree attitude, her ability to turn every moment into something funny, and her playful heart were an inspiration to everyone around her. Sometimes life throws you into a kiddie pool and you don't even know how you got there. But like Lily, you can always choose to dive back in with a smile. After all, who wouldn't want to enjoy the ride? Did Lily's antics make you laugh? Drop a comment below with your favorite moment and let us know how this bear cub stole your heart. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more hilarious and heartwarming animal stories. Trust me, there's always something new coming your way.